Emanuel Lasker. The Life of a Chess Master. Dr. Jhanak. Emanuel Lasker. The Life of a Chess Master. With annotations of more than 100 of his greatest games. Foreword by Albert Einstein. Chapter 8. Triumph at St. Petersburg. Lasker was not the sort of man to let grass grow under his feet. For him to be dissatisfied with himself meant to do something about it, to do better, and to do it at once. He was lucky enough to be given the chance almost immediately, and he owed it to the very fact that had proved so disturbing to him during the tournament, Chigorin's excellent achievement at Hastings. Naturally, that had caused quite a stir in Russia. Indeed, the master's compatriots were so delighted that, there and then, they sent a telegram to Hastings, asking Chigorin to invite the first 5 for a real Grandmaster tournament to start before the year was out. Tarrasch declined, claiming pressure of professional work. He had his doctor's practice in Nuremberg to attend to, but Lasker, Pillsbury and Steinitz, while still at Hastings, immediately accepted the challenge to meet Chigorin on his home ground. Thus, towards the end of 1895, 4 Grandmasters met in St. Petersburg, each of them to play 6 games against one another. It therefore might be called a combination of match play rather than a tournament. The contest started on December 13 and lasted nearly 7 weeks, the wealthy organizers being very generous in allowing for some days of rest in between the 18 games to be played by every competitor. At first, fortune once again seemed to favor young Pillsbury, but when he came to play his 3rd game against Lasker he was heading for trouble. It was the game, see page 66, which Lasker himself considered the best he ever played. On his 17th move, playing black in a queen's gambit, he embarked on a sacrificial combination of incomparable depth, and in the maze of complications, with every successive move beckoning to triumph or disaster. He, in those days and until fairly recently, the title Grandmaster was more or less unofficially and by tacit agreement accorded to those masters who had won at least one major international event. Some time ago matters were properly organized by the Fédération Internationale des Échecs, officially granting the title, though much on the strength of the same kind of qualification formerly demanded. At present there are some 50 officially recognized Grandmasters, a great deal more than there used to be in the first quarter of the century before organized chess began to get substantial official encouragement in the USSR and other countries of Eastern Europe. 50 for Emanuel Lasker. Groped his way to victory with the somnambulistic assurance of a tightrope walker. Once again Lasker methodically walked on the edge of the precipice, but it was the opponent who tumbled into the abyss. And once and for all, after the game, Bartleman and other critics had to revise their opinion that Lasker's style was not particularly aggressive and that his combinations lacked brilliance. Lasker now took the lead and held on to it with iron energy until, in the last week of January, the final result was established. Lasker 1 L**, Steinitz 9 *, Pillsbury 8, Chigorin 7. Lasker and Steinitz had reversed the result of Hastings by deflating the 2 first prize winners of that great tournament. Lasker has done it so convincingly that no one, any longer, would doubt his real supremacy. After all, his opponents were indubitably the strongest of the time, and for anyone to show such decisive superiority in so many match games clearly proved that he was no mere stopgap soon to be relieved by someone greater, but the greatest of all, the one most worthy to wear the crown. But there was one other man who had emerged from that grueling test of truly grandmasterly chess with new hopes, and that was Steinitz. After his defeat by Lasker and his relatively poor showing at Hastings he had been written off as utterly passé, and well he knew it, but he had now shown them that he was anything but done for. His highly creditable score in that great Lest of Petersburg had surely given him the moral right to demand a return match with Lasker. Had his wisdom been equal to his years he would have been loath to challenge fate once again. He would have retired there and been in the haze of glory achieved at Petersburg. But for one thing. Street. Petersburg 1895/96. 1 2 3 4 1 Lasker 111 halves 0 and 1/2 0 0 1/2 1/2 11 halves 11 halves 1/2 1 1 and 1/2 11 5 to Steinitz 0 and 0 1 over 21 and 1/2 1 and 1/2 1/2 111 0 1 1 0 0 and 1/2 9 0 3 Pillsbury 11 and 1/2 0 and 1/2 1/2 0 and 1/2 1/2 0 0 0 and 111,000 1/2 8.0 for Chagoran. 01/2001/2100,000 111 halves 0 0 0 1 1 1 halves 7.0. Having eked out a meager hand-to-mouth existence all his life, he just couldn't afford to retire, and for another, his was not the wisdom to recognize his own limitations. Old in years, he was still driven by the demons of youthful ambition. He was not wise enough to see that an old person must conform to the physical demands of his own age. Triumphant Street, Petersburg 55. As for the return match with Lasker, it was duly arranged, and for once it could be done with practically no fuss or trouble, for the same wealthy patrons who had financed the Petersburg event were proud and delighted to have a match for the World Championship on Russian soil. Negotiations were completed in practically no time. November 1896 was agreed on as a convenient time for starting the match, and Moscow was chosen as the venue.